Hello traders, how are we? Welcome to the live stream. Trader Tom here, and I am with you for the next 45 minutes. We are going to talk everything trading. All right, so guys, we're going to analyze the markets. I'm going to show you a couple of trades that I am currently in. We're also going to take all of your questions, so don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you like about trading, right? And it can be literally anything, guys. So don't be shy. Please ask some questions, guys. What else are we going to do? I'm also going to show you that what analysts say means absolutely nothing. I'll explain what I mean later on in the live stream as well. And also, guys, we do have some important Canadian dollar news coming out as well. So if we just take a quick look at the economic calendar, we've got some CPI data coming out of Canada. This is important to me because I am in a euro Canadian dollar sell trade, which I will explain exactly why I am in it. So yeah, action-packed show, guys. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to look at. Again, don't be shy. Get your questions over to me. Yeah, ask as many questions as you like. Right, let's just say hello to a few people. Afternoon, Brett. How are you, mate? I hope you enjoyed your lunch. Aussie Trev, how are you, mate? Good to see you. Heath Hayden, here and on time. Afternoon, Sensei. Afternoon, Karate Kid. Michael, how are you, mate? And PJ, hello, hello, hello. Right, guys, we are going to start. Sorry, I've got one more. Amina, good morning. Good morning, Amina. So we're going to start, guys, by pointing out how irrelevant analysts' comments are, right? So bear with me, right? Why am I saying this? Because we're going to look at oil, right? And I'm going to literally, we know we've had this massive bearish reaction here, right? And that's on the back of the ceasefire, right? But literally a day ago, right, we were here, okay? We was exactly at this point, and I remember watching the BBC News. I like to keep an eye on the BBC News, see what's going on in the world. And there was an analyst, get my teeth in, who basically come out and said, right, oil definitely gonna hit $85 to $100 per barrel for oil, right? So the analyst was expecting price to do this, and he was saying anywhere up to $100 a barrel up here somewhere, right? He was adamant. I forget the analyst's name, right? Not important, right? But he was like, yeah, definitely going to happen. You know, what's happening in Iran, Israel, the state of the world, even the Ukrainian-Russian war, everything is pointing to a, $85 to $100 per barrel for oil. Right, and then we go back to real time, and you would be saying to that analyst, what are you talking about? Right now, that's what I refer to as noise. Right, so you're going to hear so many analysts, so many things. If you watch any news or any Bloomberg or CNN, right, you're going to have analysts telling you this, that, and the other, right? And it's all noise, okay? Because what they're doing is predicting the future, right? Now, I don't know any trader that can predict the future, right? If you do, let me know. I will give them all of my money, right? But, no one does, right? So all of this projections or forecasts of dollar, oil's going to hit this, going to hit $100 per barrel. It's just nonsense. And even if he was correct, let's say oil went kapow, right? And he was correct, okay? It still doesn't help you, right? You don't know what price to get in at. You don't know where to put your stop loss. You don't know where to take your target. You don't know how much to risk, right? All of that information is noise and pretty much irrelevant to you as an intraday trader, right? It really is. It's just people speculating, right? And a lot of these analysts, sorry if I'm, hello everyone, I'm going on a complete rant to start with, but half of these analysts, Christ, if I could say the word, that'd be good. But half of these analysts, you know, are basically failed traders, right? You know, or the other analysts that really, really make my blood boil, they will say something like this. They'll be saying, right, on the back of the, you know, Israeli-Iran conflict or Ukraine-Russia, we could see oil go down to as little as $70 a barrel, or we could see oil shoot up and hit $80 a barrel. You know what I mean? He's covered all bases, or she's covered all bases, right? You can't go wrong as an analyst, right? And even if you are wrong, you're like, oh yeah, because of this, you know, like, so don't listen to all of that noise. Do not form an opinion of a trade, right? Whether it's oil, whether it's euro, US dollar, whether it's NASDAQ, doesn't matter, right? Trade what you see, okay? And if we think about oil, let's trade what we see. If we think about oil, right? As I said, when the analyst said this, price was up here. Okay, so let's go back to yesterday or a couple of days ago when this analyst said this. So oil was up here. But even if oil is up here, from a technical point of view, I don't want to buy it. Right? You're starting to see a wick rejection. Also, price is very overextended up here. Look at the moving average 20, right? Price is very far away from the mean, right? And that's what the moving average 20 is. So I don't want to buy it anyway, okay? Now, I would stay out of the market, regardless of what some analysts said about oil, right? Now, let's go back to the current day. If anything, right, this is potentially lining up for a good buy trade now, right? We're in this uptrend, price has retraced, we're back to this level of support in here, right? We're also pretty much at the moving average 20. We know geopolitics has made this big move, but now, right, price is looking at a pretty good value area to start buying oil, right? I'm not going to buy it today off the back of this big bearish candle, but if today's candle ends up looking something like this, then I will absolutely consider buying oil if I get a setup, right? So yeah, don't listen to noise. Listen to what the market tells you in terms of technical analysis and price action, and then trade once the market makes sense to you. And if the market did this with a nice bullish candle, that would absolutely make sense for me to potentially buy it back up to here. All right, guys. So yeah, bit of a rant first thing on the live stream, but just wanted to share that, guys, right? Don't listen to all the noise. It's irrelevant to your trading. Right. What else we got in? So let me say hello to a few people. Adnan, hello. How are you? Phil, how are you? LMS. People were saying a similar thing about gold. Yeah, exactly. Every analyst and his dog was saying buy gold, right? And let's be honest, that was good advice, right? Because of, you know, many different factors affecting gold, right? It's a flight to safety. The US dollar was weak. They were looking at decreasing interest rates. Central banks were buying up gold, making it more precious, right? There was a lot of reasons to trade it, but it doesn't mean you can trade it. You still have to wait for your setup, right? So the analysts are going to be right now and again, right? The analysts, like with this oil, are going to be wrong. And it also depends on your time scale. The analyst who said this, to be fair to them, didn't say their time scale. They could say it'd reach $100 in 5 years. Right? I'm exaggerating, but you know what I mean? It could. They're not worried about this short move down. They're waiting for, this to happen over many months and even years, right? They can have a very long-term view of it. So you also need to consider analysts' time frame, time horizon that they're looking at, right? And that goes with traders as well, guys, right? If I spoke to a scalper, right, who's scalping the 5-minute chart, they'll be like, Tom, I'm selling euro US dollar, right? Now, if I didn't know they were a scalper and I said I'm buying euro US dollar, you'd be like, what's going on here? But I'm buying euro US dollar on the H4. So really important to understand people's time horizons and where they're coming from. So there you go, guys. I wanted to share that first of all. Right. Hi, Niraj. Hi, Luigi. Hi, Marky Mark. Hi, Tony. How are we all, guys? We've got a question here from Marky Mark as well. Right. Before we do, guys, let me just show you a couple of trades that I am in. Right. I said to you Euro CAD. Now, why am I taking this trade? Right. So price, this is an against trend trade. Right. Now, if you look at the daily chart, right, we are in an uptrend, but we have hit resistance over here, right? It's proven to be resistance before. There's a strong probability it will be resistance again. Okay, right? But this is very much a H4 against trend trade. But this, because, I mean, just look at the day chart, right? Daily uptrend, bullish candle, everything's bullish, right? This is a very aggressive trade, okay? But we are at resistance. And then on the H4, guys, you can see that, again, we're in this uptrend, but we are very overextended up here. So not only are we overextended, again, look at the moving average 20, right? It's miles away from that. I could also bring up the RSI. In fact, let's do it, right? And as you can see, that is above 70, right? Which is an overbought area. And let's get rid of that indicator. And in this overbought area, at a resistance level, we have had a very nice bearish H4 candle, okay? And all I'm looking to do, I've already started selling this in here, right? I've put my stop above here, and I'm looking to take price back down to this 1.5850 level and this next level of potential support for this trade. All right, so Euro CAD, I'll be honest, not my typical trade, but enough reasons there for me to like the trade. Okay, so I'm in Euro Canadian dollar sells. We do have CAD news at 1/2 the hour, right? So I have to keep an eye on that when that comes out. Somebody please remind me when the news is coming out. Not that it matters, guys, right? Not a lot I can do there. The next one I am in is pound yen, right? So again, this is more my bread and butter trade, right? This is like 95% of my trades, right? We are in an uptrend, right? Tick. We have a nice bullish candle, tick. We have broken this key resistance level, tick, right? And value is a little bit in question, right? Again, we are a reasonable distance from the moving average 20, but we do have room to move into back up to this next resistance level, right? So if I scroll out now, you can see this is where I'm looking to take price, okay? So that's the day chart. And then if we drop down to the H4, right, I'm looking for H4 uptrend with a bullish reaction, right? Again, not complicated, right? And if we just do this, that's pretty much what the H4 is right now. Higher highs, higher, potentially higher lows here, we shall see. Excuse me. All right, and then we got in an uptrend, and then we saw this candle here, and I basically entered on that candle, right? Started buying in here, stops below here, and I'm looking to take price back up to these highs. So yeah, there you go, pound yen. One thing to point out here, guys, you know, if I do end up with like a really bearish candle, then I may get out of this trade, right? But it has to be bearish. For example, this right now is not bearish, right? It's a bit of a doji, if not a bit bearish, but not bearish enough. I would stay in this trade. So there you go, guys. Those are the two trades that I am in. And as always, guys, if you want all of my trades, right, along with strategies, tutorials, you can speak to other traders, then please come join our VIP Trading Academy. So as you can see, guys, here's the Euro Canadian dollar sell trade. Here's the pound yen buy trade. And I put all of my trades in here. But also you get access to all my strategies, hedging, managing trades, trade entries, psychology, money risk management. So please come join our VIP Trading Academy. And while I'm at it, guys, we also have a free Discord channel, right? I also put my trade ideas in there. And if you come join our trading community where you can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas, then we are also going to give you 50% off the complete Simply Forex trading course. So if you look above my head, guys, you can see the promotion there. And all you need to do is scan that QR code, right? The editor is like a magician when it comes to tech, whereas me, I am like a moron. So just scan the QR code, guys, and away you go. Also, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Also, check out our website for all of our trading education, www.simply-forex.com. Let me have a quick drink of coffee after all of that. My favorite Liverpool FC mug, guys. Those of you that are Liverpool fans, congratulations, you support the best team in the world. Those of you that are not Liverpool fans, it's unfortunate for you. Right. Let's have a look at some of your questions now then, guys. So Marky Mark, or Mark Wahlberg, as he's known, wants to look at Aussie dollar, US dollar. So let's do just that. Now, one thing I want to show you here, guys, right, is how tricky the markets are right now as well, right? So again, if I go back in time, okay, now look at this, right? This is the H4 chart, right? Aussie dollar, US dollar, we're in a downtrend. We're thinking, right, a retrace into here, moving average 20 coming down. This could be a nice sell trade if we get a nice bearish candle in here or something, right? You know, but look at the markets at the moment. Kerpow. That's the problem with the markets, because there's so much geopolitical uncertainty, right? You don't need me to tell you that. But because there's so much geopolitical uncertainty, you're getting moves like this. Look at that, right? We're down here and then bang, right? We have moved, right? Okay, this is Aussie dollar, US dollar. It's not that extreme, but 140 pips, right, in a very short amount of time, okay, and actually broken H4 structure, right? And that's the problem with the markets. We're seeing massive moves in one direction and then massive moves in the other direction. It is tricky markets right now, okay? We know this. But as always, that is a perfect example of noise. I'm telling you they're tricky markets, right? But really, that's noise. You should just look at the currency pair, look at the facts on the chart in terms of price action, and make a decision. Doesn't matter if it's tricky markets, right? So let's do exactly that. And let's all get involved, guys, right? Now, looking at, let me drag this across a little bit. Let's smarten these areas up. Right. So looking at the weekly chart, guys, we're all going to do this together and get involved and answer these questions, right? Just leave your comment in the live chat. I see we've got more questions, guys. I'll answer all of them as much as I can. Now, weekly chart on Aussie dollar, US dollar to help Mark Wahlberg. What would you do? Would you buy, sell, or stay out of this market? Now, another good point here is when you are analyzing the weekly chart, you cannot include that candle because that candle hasn't finished forming, right? So, but we do know it's come down here and shot off, okay? But we have to wait until that candle's finished. But looking at Aussie dollar, US dollar, guys, on the weekly chart, would you buy, sell, or stay out of this market? Everyone get involved, guys. Please leave your answer right now. I'm going to carry on drinking coffee, and I'm slightly sweaty. Dubai has got silly hot. Right, Aussie Trev, stay out. Heath, stay out. Marky Mark, stay out. Kibria, uptrend plus range, stay out. PJ, stay out. Brett, stay out. Right. So there you go, Marky Mark. There's your answer. Next question. But jokes aside, guys, like if everyone's seeing the same thing, we don't want to trade it, right? Everyone's telling us stay out. Now, when I said you couldn't include this week's candle, right? You can't because it hasn't finished forming. It could end up looking like that, right? It could end up looking super bearish and like this, guys, right? So that's exact. Sorry, sorry, my daughter has just burst into the door. So you can't include this candle, guys, right? Because it hasn't finished forming. But we know price has come down to this support level, right? We know that much. So you can kind of include it, right? And we can see it's bouncing off of this level. But generally speaking, because of that, I would stay out of this market, right? We're in an uptrend. You know, price has been just sort of bobbling along at this resistance level. We did have a big bearish candle, right? And that was suggesting we could sell. And at the start of the week, we could have made some good sells. But price has just completely whipsawed back up in a very short period of time. All right. So this is where we find ourselves on the weekly chart, and that is a stay out. All right. Simple as that. So let's carry this on. Let's now look at the daily chart. Right. So again, looking at the daily chart, guys, same question. Right. Would you buy, sell, or stay out of this market? I'm going to continue to have coffee, and I am genuinely quite hot right now. So everyone, guys, don't be shy. Buy, sell, or stay out of this market on the daily chart. We've done the weekly. Everyone was pretty unanimous. Stay out. Right. Now let's do the daily. PJ, stay out. Kibria, stay out. Anyone else? Don't be shy. There's no such thing as a wrong answer No room to move, stay out. Okay, so again, guys, right? Again, Tony agrees, stay out. Marky Mark, stay out. Marky Mark, this was your question, and you have answered stay out to both time frames. So there you go. You've answered your own question there, right? And everyone else has supported that. It is a stay out, right? And it's also a little bit scruffy with price action, this, right? Now, if we look at Aussie dollar, US dollar, that's pretty much where we're at, because this high here never breaks, right? So this is the last substantial low, and we have bounced off that level, right? So if anything, we're in an uptrend, and this would be a buy trade. Okay, so I could understand buys from that level back up to these highs, right? But you can kind of see just prices, slowly creeping down here. So it's what I'm trying to say, guys, is it's not clear cut. It's not clear cut trending market, right? It's a little bit scruffy. So this would be a stay out or a buy for me. But obviously, if we combine that with our analysis of the weekly chart and this big bearish candle, even if we did want to buy the daily chart, do you want to buy into this candle here? No, right? So stay out, Marky Mark, of Aussie dollar, US dollar. And again, just looking at the H4, guys, look at the volatility in the market, right? Downtrend, bang, uptrend. Like I say, if anything, price comes down towards the moving average 20, we've got a bullish reaction. That, if I had to trade it, which I don't, that's what I would look for. So there you go, Marky Mark. Stay out of Aussie dollar, US dollar. Right, we had some other questions up here. So we got one here from Heath. Dear Tom, I trade the FTSE mainly on the 5-minute time frame. I know you trade much higher time frames. Could I have your expert analysis on this, please? So a few comments I would make with this, right? So it doesn't, I've got to phrase this correctly, right? So it doesn't matter what time frame you trade on, right? As long as you're making money, right? But the lower the time frame, the less reliable it is. And I can just show you that visually, right? So let me do exactly that. If we look at the day chart, right, and we pick a bit of chart, right? Look, so this is, let's just start here, right? This is a downtrend, right? Okay, downtrend, okay? Still in a downtrend, right? You get the idea, right? And this downtrend arguably started when we broke this level, right? Okay, so we've been in a downtrend since, I don't know, let's say 6th of November. We're still in a downtrend on Wednesday, the 29th of Jan. So that trend, if you are with trend on the day chart, it is very, very reliable. So much so, if you're on your entry, obviously, but you would have been right since the 7th of November all the way down to Wednesday, the 29th of Jan. All right, November, December, January, about 3 months, you would be having trades in the right direction. And if you think about that for a second, guys, that is pretty powerful stuff, right? Now, let me show you the 5-minute chart. I don't even have it up because it makes my eyes bleed, right? And let's find a bit of, right, let's find a nice uptrend. Right, break. So actually, well, let's find when this trend started. So I would say it started, we broke these highs in here, it started here. Right, and then broke. So this uptrend has lasted from Monday, the 23rd of June at midday roughly, to Monday at 5 o'clock. So this uptrend lasted about 5 hours, right? Which is visually shows you how unreliable the 5-minute chart is. You can't rely on its trend, and therefore you can't rely on its structure, right? So that is not the problem I have, but that's what you need to be aware of when you trade lower time frames. They are less reliable. So if you think about it, daily is the most reliable, then H4, then H1, and then it slowly becomes less reliable. Okay. The second point I would make about your question, Heath, is it's okay, you trade on the 5-minute chart, but you still need a higher time frame direction. Even if it's the H1 or even the H4, you need a higher time frame direction. And mine, for example, is the daily chart. I also keep an eye on the weekly, but generally speaking, the daily chart, I want to be with daily trend. And then I wait for H4 or H1 sometimes to fall in trend with the daily. And if I get that combination, you know, you have a higher probability trade, right? So that's what I would say about that, Heath, but good question. Right, what else are we looking at? Marky Mark, Euro seems to be at resistance in most of its crosses. Yes, very good point. It's also come into my decision making when selling Euro CAD because I looked at Euro US dollar. And if we go to the day chart, yeah, we are literally at a daily resistance level, even a weekly level in here. All right, so it'll be really interesting to see how the Euro acts at this level. Right, we can expect a bit of a sell-off, right? And that, okay, that is the thinking of my Euro CAD trade as well. And we have had news. Let's have a quick look. Okay, so we had better than expected news for the CAD, which is what I want, right? I want Euro CAD sells, I want Canadian dollar strength, but we're not actually seeing that immediately. If anything, on the back of that, we're seeing Canadian dollar weakness, right? But look, we'll see. We've still got another half an hour before this candle finishes. We'll see how the hourly candle finishes. And also, guys, in half an hour, we've got the H4 candle finishing. So if we look at the H4, right, and it's really a H4 trade. So the most important thing is how this H4 candle finishes. I would like to see a bit of a top wick on this candle. But let's see how it finishes, right? So yeah, there you go, guys. Right, we've got something here from Adnan. Hi, Tom. I'm 17 and trading from Bosnia. Not much support here, and my parents don't really get it. Been learning for 3 years and last 4 months seriously. Any advice to stay motivated and grow? So first of all, Adnan, without sounding like a dad, or without sounding like one of your parents, you are 17, so make sure you get bloody educated, right? And get some, education behind you, right? Then you can go off and do things that you want to do, right? There's my dad bit. Now, trading, regardless of how old you are, to stay motivated and grow. So motivation for me was never a problem, right? Because I enjoy trading, which has been a curse and a blessing, right? Because if you enjoy something, you want to do something all the time. And that has led to over trading for me because I enjoy trading. I enjoy being in the market. Over many years, I've become aware of this. And, I rarely overtrade these days, right? So, to do anything and to stick with it and remain determined, you have to enjoy it, right? Like every corporate job I've ever done, I thought, what a load of old crap. I really have. And, I just wasn't motivated, don't enjoy it, couldn't care less if the company made $3 billion or lost 3 billion. I'd care if it lost money, right? But you get the idea. I didn't care how the company did, right? I just took my salary and, switched my brain off after work, right? And was never motivated, really. Maybe at the start, but later on, never motivated, right? Because I didn't enjoy it, right? But if you want to become a professional footballer, if you want to play guitar professionally, you've got to enjoy it, and that's what will keep you motivated. That's what's kept me motivated. Now, how to grow is all down to you and the amount of time you put into understanding this crazy world of trading, right? But in order to grow, I think a very good starting point for anyone, right, wanting to improve and grow as a trader is understanding price action. You're probably like, Tom, Jesus Christ, we hear this every live stream, but it's true, right? Any strategy you do, any avenue you take in trading, right, needs to be built on solid foundations of understanding how charts move, right? Let me have a quick sip of coffee. So start there, understand trend and structure, understand support and resistance levels, understand candlesticks, understand value, and understand how to read multiple time frames and crunch the data. That will put you in a pretty good spot. And then, to grow it's an interesting one, really. That's going to teach you how to trade, but to grow, it's really a look within, right? Because again, as you know, lots of trading is very psychological. And as you grow as an individual and become aware of your faults, right? It might be over trading. It might be risking too much. It might be risking too little. It might be not following your rules, right? It's how you can't overcome all of these little things and these issues that you have that keep popping up. That's the real special sauce, overcoming those things and putting systems in place for them to not keep popping up, right? When traders blow accounts, it's for the same reason, right? Maybe it's over leverage, trading too much. Maybe it's not following the rules. But generally speaking, it will be one or two of these things, and it will be repeating the same mistake. So you have to put systems in place for you to stop doing the same mistakes, and that will help you grow. You really have to look within yourself, and it's a real honest appraisal of yourself, right? A lot of people are not very good at that. I'm I'm very honest with myself, and you have to be in trading, right? Because you there's no one else to blame, right? You're not answerable to anyone. There's no boss that you have to apologize to. You're everything. So yeah, you grow by understanding yourself more. Yeah, that's what I would say. But good question, Adnan. Right, PJ, Got a question here. Thoughts on pound New Zealand dollar? Guys, before we look at pound New Zealand dollar, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash that like button. If you haven't already, please come join our free Discord channel by hitting the QR code on the screen. We will also give you 50% off our course if you do so. I think you've got 2 weeks to redeem it. Also, guys, please check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. PJ, I'm liking your thinking with this, and your thinking buys, and I couldn't agree with you more. Again, day chart, right? We're in an uptrend. Okay, we broke this higher highs, right? It was also getting lower lows, but this higher high is in an uptrend. We're above the moving average 20 as well, right? The only problem with it is the candle, right? Look at that wick bouncing off of these highs. And I will be honest with you, PJ, I have been wrestling, is the right word, with taking this trade, right? I actually ended up getting in pound yen, as you know, right? Because you're part of the VIP. But daily uptrend, you know, at a value area, but this big wick pinging off resistance puts doubt in my mind. But if you look at the H4 now, I've already looked at the H4, right? It is a thing of beauty. You do not get a better looking setup than that, right? Uptrend, higher lows, right? Higher highs, we're in an uptrend. We are also at a horizontal support level, and we're at the moving average 20. So we are at double whammy support level, right? You couldn't wish for a better H4 setup, but it gets better. We've also got a large bullish engulfing candlestick pattern at our support level. My God, it doesn't get much better than that. So the only thing putting me off is that this is a resistance level and we've had a massive sell-off at that level. But buyers have come back into the market. So I'm really torn. And when I'm torn like this, right, I think you remember, PJ, we spoke about this in the VIP. I will say to myself, wait for another piece of confluence. And even then, I'm still not sure. But you can see here, right, that if we go down to the H1, basically we're here. And that really is the last significant area of resistance on the H1. And that's why I have my alarm in there. Now, if we get a nice bullish H1 candle that breaks that level, it's going to be, I'm going to wrestle with this trade more. Like, I will want to take this trade, but I will reassess what the H4 is looking like at that point as well. So totally agree with this potentially being a buy trade, right? The only thing is that daily candle bouncing off of that level, right? But even then, it still has room to move up into, you know, take it to 2.2650, right? Before it even gets anywhere near this level. So I hear you, PJ. I am wrestling with this trade, but I am in pound yen currently, okay? Which, looking at this H4 candle, I may get out of early. Let's see. But yeah, anyway, guys, anything I do, I will put in the VIP Trading Academy anyway. All right, guys, on that note, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Have a great trading day. Please come catch me tomorrow, same time on the live stream, 8 a.m. New York EST time. I'll see you then, guys. Get your questions ready for me.